There is a very deadly phrase that seemingly is said almost every week in churches across the world. This might be said in a staff meeting, it may be in an individual one on one meeting, it could be in the lobby after church when someone walks up to you and asks about why you do something. And do you know that phrase? Here it is. This is just how we do it. No shade on this. I've said it. You have said it. I guess you've probably said it this year. I mean, maybe this month. And, and I'm not trying to ask you to keep track, but we've all used the phrase. Listen, if we've never met, my name is Gavin. This podcast is created just to help you think more intentionally about your church and the mission, the most important mission in your entire city. And if you read today's post on my blog, you already know that that sentence is one of the most dangerous statements that any church leader can use. And I've got a four-step process for dealing with it. What I want to spend time today, though, on the podcast is something that I didn't go as deep into on the post. Mostly because there isn't time to do all of it, right? But what we're going to talk about today, I think will actually kind of help you tell the difference between a tradition worth keeping and a system that is just running on autopilot. Because here's the problem, from the inside, on a normal Tuesday, those things look the exact same. So here's the trap, right? Every long-running system, and you could replace system with, framework or program or event or, whatever. Okay. So every long running system in your church feels the same from the inside, whether it's healthy or quietly broken, right? Familiarity with it is the issue. And familiarity doesn't tell you anything about whether something is working. It just tells you that you are familiar with it. You are comfortable with it. So for instance, a system can run smooth and still be failing your mission. Those are two very different things, right? And most of us only have one gauge that measures both, which is basically a feelings gauge. Does this feel normal today? Does it feel good? Does it feel, and we would never say familiar, but does it feel like it's working? And our familiarity often causes us to say, yeah, I think it's probably fine. So here's the principle that I would love for us to think about for a minute. And it really comes down to two kind of very different questions that you could be asking about the same system. Okay, here's the first question. Does this feel normal? Does it run without friction, right? Does everyone already know their part? Call it the comfort question. And it's going to say yes most of the time because familiarity produces comfort, whether or not the thing is actually serving the mission. But here's the other question, and it is much harder to ask because it doesn't come as naturally. If someone brand new walked into this church today with no history, no loyalty to kind of how things have always been done, would it actually make sense to them? Call that the functional question. See, comfort is a feeling, right? But function is something you'd have to go find out. And most churches only kind of run the first question, the comfort question, because it happens, really automatically. No one has to go looking for comfort, right? You have to, though, go looking for function. So here's what I would do this week if I were you. I would pick one system or one ministry or one program and just pick one. And I would ask that function question with some intentionality and purpose behind it. Would someone brand new with no history at our church say this makes sense? Or, and I've said this in a previous podcast before, if someone else walked in today without my emotional connection and without my familiarity, would they do what we are doing? Like, walk a few of your systems through that question, and you'll probably find that they land in a few different places. Some pass both tests, the comfortable and the functional test. And those are things that you should leave alone. Some are already kind of known to be a little uncomfortable. Somebody's already said something, right? So at least you're not operating blind, to those. And then there are some things that fall into a category that you really should worry about, like maybe worry a lot about. These are the things that pass the comfort test, but would fail the function test. Because nobody inside the system has any reason to really notice something is off but you, thinking functionally, can see it clearly. That third category of stuff, that third bucket, that is where like a lot of cost is hiding in your church because, I mean, it's invisible by definition, but it is costing you something. And once you find one, they're really, you got to do something about it, right? You have one of two things that you can do. You could structurally work on it and change it. Like you could hand it to somebody else and let them work through it, figure it out, or you could just do nothing and you could pretend that you never knew the problem existed. But I'll tell you this, by pretending that everything is fine, you are costing your mission. You are allowing the mission to operate less than optimally. You're not getting potential out of it. And man, the mission of your local church is the most important mission in your city. We cannot allow it to not be optimized. So, I mean, think about it. Every quarter that you skip asking these functional questions, the gap between comfortable and functional just gets wider and wider and wider. And it's going to get harder and harder for you to see from the inside. Maybe you've heard this before, but it's kind of like trying to read the label from inside the bottle. And the longer you live inside the bottle, the longer you live inside the system, the harder it's going to be for you to see if it's the right system. So listen, I just encourage you to pick a system this week. Ask somebody new who, doesn't understand and doesn't have the familiarity if this makes sense to them. And then go find whoever's been quietly making it work anyway and have that hard conversation because it's probably a little overdue.